Alright, this long one is approximately around I don't know, but apparently this thing has suicide and mentions of self-harm, so please, if you are triggered by these, please do not listen to this chapter. But anyways, let's get going. I wonder how I should act mysterious so the listeners would fall in love with me. Dumbass Dog was brainstorming on how he'd look hot and mysterious for the listeners. He was roaming around at night like he usually does. Don't get him wrong, he has an owner and he loves them, but he's a dog who just can't sit still, which is why he would often explore the town or hang out with his best friend, Demon Killer 9000, aka Chad? Eat senpai. Yep. Suspy. Yep. A faint voice spoke out. Dumbass Dog heard it and soon got curious. He slowly followed the voice, which led him to a small forest. I wonder who it is, he thought, not giving anything much thought. He made an abrupt stop as he smelled something unpleasant. The smell of rust, which reminded him of blood. He slowly walked towards where the smell was. He quickly stopped, as he got a good angle of what was happening from afar. He couldn't believe his eyes. It was a boy who he assumed was Michiru, which he would see him from time to time with... He would see him from time to time with a dead body. Bob. I need to get ready for tomorrow night. It's the Halloween party. I wonder how Yin's going to dress up. She said she'd be being a sexy witch costume. I'm excited. Michiru told Bob's corpse. Well then, goodbye, Bob. Only I can have Yin. He added with a sadistic laugh. He watched as Michiru left. Dumbass Dog was shaking in fear. He had just witnessed murder and doesn't know how to tell anyone. After all, he is just a dog. But one thing is for sure. He'll protect Yin. Present time. Yin! Yin! Someone called out your name. You snapped out of your thoughts and looked at Mitsuru's worried facial expressions. Are you alright? Are you sick, Yin? She asked. I'm fine. Just have a lot in mind. You replied. Sorry, I had accidentally choked on my spit. You were still thinking about what happened yesterday with Dumbass Dog and the missed call you had with Nezuko. You called her back, but she didn't answer. Is Nezuko angry, you thought? Are you sure you're all right, Yin? You haven't even taken a bite of your pizza, Ami was asked worriedly. Yep, I'm fine, you told Ami with a small smile. Ami decided not to push it and just nodded her head. What were you doing with them exactly? Well, you were having a lunch with Melanie, Ami, Mitsuri, and Shinobu. You quickly took a bite of your pizza. You make sure that they wouldn't have to worry about you anymore. Shinobu noticed that you didn't want the attention, so she decided to change the subject. Christmas is just around the corner. Do you guys have any plans? She asked. Well, I actually have a date, but I don't know which date to choose for my first list of crushes I want to be fucked by. Melanie replied. Smacked Melanie's arm. Ow, she hissed in pain as she glared at Ami. We should just focus on the Christmas event here at school. Oh, right, Yin, the costumes have been delivered. You and Sanemi were the ones chosen to try it, right? Mitsuri spoke out. Oh, yeah, I guess I'll talk to Sanemi after school or something. Or we'd be excused since we are in charge of the costumes, you replied. As you all conversed, you felt a hand rub your back. You looked to see that it was Ami. She gave you a small, reassuring smile. I'm really lucky to have them, even if this world is just a game, you thought, as You couldn't help but let out a sad smile. You know that you would have to leave one day. Blake has also been keeping in touch with you. The two of you have been working hard behind the scenes to find an exit, a glitch, a place that is out of bounds. Time skip. You looked at the Christmas-style dress. It was a red tube dress with white floofy feathers at the top and at the bottom. You and Sanmi were trying on the costumes you both had planned that the student council would wear. This was just a prototype, though. Me, don't you think this looks short? You spoke out as he stared at the dress. Sanmi's eyes widened at that nickname. What did you just call me? He asks. Nami? Why? Do you hate it? You ask. No, I like it, he mumbled. You let out a chuckle in response. We're already at nickname stage. Ian must also love me. Sanmi thought. He was convincing himself you also loved him. He was delusioning himself. Me, Nami, you spoke out. He snapped out of his thoughts. Huh? He looks at you. I said, don't you think this looks so tight and short? You replied as he showed him the dress. He looks at it. Kind of, but looks can be deceiving. You never know unless you try it on, he replied. All right. You should also try that Santa costume too, you told him. Yeah, he replied. Oh, you should dress up first. I'll wait outside, you told him. Before he could even say a word, you quickly left. Huh? She didn't even let me speak, Sanmi mumbled. As he wore the costume, he let out grumbles and mumbles of complaints. He soon finished trying on the costume. He then called for you. I hate this. The pants are too loose, he complained. You let out a small laugh. That's because your waist is so small, you teased him, which made him a bit embarrassed. Well, we should change that if it's uncomfortable, you added. Well, could you leave? I'll just change back in my uniform, he spoke out. You let out a laugh as you soon left. Yin, you should try that on so we can come to a decision whether to change the costumes or not, he spoke out. You nodded as you entered the room while he left. You soon tried on the dress. You let out an oh no as you felt that the dress was so tight and so short. You couldn't move properly without flashing your panties because the dress going up. You couldn't even start with the chest part. It was so tight. You couldn't barely breathe. Ugh, you groaned. Come take a look, Nami, and tell me if this shit is comfortable. You spoke out. Why? He asks as he enters the room. His eyes widened, not because of the dress, but because of the bite mark on your neck. Let's just say it made him jealous. You're right. You should remove it right now, he spoke out. I'll go out now. You cut him off with a groan. Oh shit. I think the zipper is stuck, you told him. Can you, help me? You asked. Are you fine with it? He asked. Yes. I give you my consent to see my bra or something. Just please. I want to remove this dress or I'll tear it up with my bare fists, you told him. He let out a small chuckle and soon walked towards you. You turned around so he could unzip it. Yin, he spoke out. His fingers gazed against the bite mark. It made you flinch. He was quick to apologize. Sorry, who bit you? He asked as he tries to unzip the dress. It was a menace named, whatever. There's no need to dwell in the past. I don't even want to remember their name or face. You pouted and crossed your arms. If Sanmi was being honest, this mark made his blood boil. He was absolutely jealous that someone got to mark you, and that gets to show everywhere. It made him pissed, even though it was against your will. Soon the sound of the zipper going down could be heard. Sanmi managed to unzip it. Thanks, Nami, you thanked him. Before he could even have a chance to speak, someone cut him off. Someone slid open the door, revealing Melanie, who sees the sight of you and Sanmi alone in a room with Sanmi unzipping your clothes. Bye, sorry for interrupting, she chuckled as she was quick to close the door. Melanie, wait, please. And, she's gone. You let it aside. You promised yourself that you would explain things to her, but you could guess that she had already started shipping you both. Why the fuck would she not knock? Sanemi comments. Well, she probably didn't expect someone to be here, you replied, with a small sigh. Anyways, you should go call the others for an emergency meeting. I'll change my clothes and head to the office. I already have an idea on what we should do for the costumes, you told him. He nodded his head and did as you told him. Time skip. Holy shit, I got Santa, you spoke out excitedly. I think this is rigged, Uzui commented as he got a reindeer. An elf, I don't even have complaints. Shinobu commented. You got an elf too? Mitsuri spoke out excited as she turned to Shinobu. Why the fuck am I a reindeer? Sanemi mumbled. Oh, who got the reindeer? You spoke up. Kojo, Sanemi, Uzui, Gome, Michiro, Gyu, and Obanai raised their hands. Wait, so only Shinobu and Mitsuri got the elves? You spoke out in disbelief. What were you all doing? Well, you decided that the costume should be changed. You had an idea that there would be one Santa while the rest would be the elves or reindeers. All of you had picked a random piece of paper from a box, and now you won the position of wearing the Santa costume. I still think this is rigged, Uzui commented. Well, no, it isn't rigged. My luck just had to flamboyantly come in. You reassured him. Did you steal my line? Uzui gasped in disbelief. You only let out a laugh in response. So that means I get to write you guys, you commented with an innocent facial expression. All of them slowly turned to you. You were quick to realize that your sentence sounded weird. Wait, that's not what I meant. I'm Santa. Santa rides the reindeer to the sleigh, you frantically explained. Please forgive Yin for her sins, Gomei commented. -1,000 heaven points, Yin. Uzui shook his head in disappointment. Bold of you to assume she'd even make it to heaven, Sanmi snorts. She has a better chance of going to heaven than him, Obanai comments as he looks at Gyu. Gyu looked at them, confused. What did I even do? Gyu mumbled. Your expenses is already a validation of human rights, Tokida-san. Oh, your existence, sorry. Shinobu tells him with a smile. Oh, they're bullying Gyu, Mitsuri thought. Well, you can certainly ride me again, Kojo spoke out. Soon there was silence. Okay, that's enough writing talk, you commented. Kojo just looked at the others, acting all confused and innocent, even though he meant what you were thinking. If Yin is Santa, that means people would get to sit on our lap, Michio commented. Yeah, no one is sitting on my lap. If someone does, I'll make them pay a billion since I'm expensive and deserve better. You were quick to shut that idea down. The school bell soon rang. It was time to go home. Mitsuri and Shinobu soon approached you. Yin, should we head to the mall after school? Mitsuri suggested. Well, I'd have to pass since I need to talk to the janitor, you replied. Oh, well, maybe next time? Shinobu asked. Yeah, sure, tomorrow? He suggested. The two of them nodded their heads in agreement. The others had also heard the conversation and soon scratched the idea of taking you home. Although they already knew that you and Blake were just friends, they couldn't help but be jealous. But they knew not to cross that line yet. They needed to have some patience after all. You soon headed to where Blake was. You let out a small smile as you saw that he was at the garden, sweeping the ground. You quickly and slowly walked towards him. Boo! You shouted. He let out a shriek as he dropped the cigarette he was smoking. Fucking, of course, it's you, brat. He let out a sigh as he stepped on the cigarette that fell to put out the fire. You let out a giggle. You soon sat on the bench as you watched him do his job. So, how are you and Daki? You asked. Oh, Ume, her and I are doing fine, he replied. You only hummed in response. It wasn't alone before he noticed your quiet behavior. He then stops what he was doing and sits next to you. Is there something wrong? He asks. You let out a small sigh as you rested your head on his shoulder. You soon grabbed his hand. You played with his fingers. You had a hobby of fiddling with someone else's fingers or hand when you were feeling sensitive. You even did this with Izu, Shoto, and even Bakugo. But what's more shocking was Keigo and Aizawa even allowed you to do it to them too. Blake, you spoke out. I'm scared. What if we don't get out of here? What if we're stuck here forever until we grow old and die? You asked. You were growing worried every day. The game is almost at the end. The ending will occur during graduation day, and it's already December. Your mind was always filled with questions. What if you both can go back when the game ends? What if the game restarts? What if there's no exit at all and that the two of you grow old and die? Here. The idea of never seeing your friends and family again haunts your mind every day. Heck, the only one you could really talk to was Blake. Sure, there was also Daki, but she couldn't probably understand what you were going through like Blake does. You snapped out of your thoughts as you feel someone squeeze your hand. It was Blake. Blake couldn't find the right words to comfort you, but he tried regardless. I'll find an exit, Yin, he reassured you. Promise me we'll leave together? You sniffed as tears rolled down your cheeks. I promise, he replied, with a small smile as he wiped the tears with his thumb. He knew the chances of leaving together were small, which is why he made it his priority to at least let you be the one who gets out first. He knew the love interests were acting weird. Not only them, but this world too. He was running out of time, and he knew that. Oh, Yin, you don't know a lot about Blake. Like the secrets he holds. Time skip. You were walking down the streets. You were heading home. Your head was occupied with thoughts. You were beginning to get worried and anxious. You let it aside as you soon looked at what was in front of you. Your eyes widened as you noticed Inosuke on a bridge. It seemed like he was about to jump. Inosuke! You shouted. He quickly turned to you. You noticed him. You finally called out his name. He finally got to hear your sweet, sweet voice. But he had to control himself to pull this off. To pull you thinking that he'd about to commit suicide. Inosuke was on the bridge, and the lake below him was about 50 feet. He turned to you, his eyes red and cheeks stained with tears. He didn't say anything as he watched you run towards him. He loved it. You're finally giving him attention. He wanted to spice everything up. He soon went into a stance that looked like he was about to jump. He glanced at your face. It was filled with fear and worry. He loves it so much. This love you care about him. But care also means love. Love means that you want to be with him. You used all your energy to rush towards him. You grabbed him, but unfortunately he jumped as you grabbed him, making you fall into the lake with him. Splash. Fuck, you mentally cursed as you fell inside the lake. Your grip on Inosuke's clothes was tight. You were not going to let him drown. You swam up and soon let out a deep inhale as you came in contact with the oxygen. Inosuke wouldn't go a thing and let you do whatever you wanted with his body. You thought that something must have happened that made him so hopeless, but you didn't know that Inosuke wasn't moving because he knew you wouldn't leave him be. He let out be so close to you and touch and treat him as if he was a precious gem. He loved it so much. As you dragged him to the land, you didn't bother resting, but quickly looked at Inosuke. Are you all right? What were you thinking? You scolded him, but he didn't reply. Your breath hitched as you saw yourself in him when you were in the real world, but little did you know, this was practically just acting. Inosuke, you spoke out in a little bit more gentle tone. As you slowly embraced him, his eyes widened. She finally hugged me, he thought as he wrapped his arms around you. Ian, he mumbled as he tightened his embrace. He couldn't help but be happy that his plan actually worked, but it wasn't over yet. He needed to put the finishing blow. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He was letting out the frustration and sadness he felt when you ignored him. You let him cry on your shoulder. You didn't bother asking that what the reason was since you assumed he didn't want to tell you. I'm sorry, he stuttered. I'm sorry. He repeated. And don't ignore me again. Don't leave me too. He sniffed as he hugged you tighter. You bit your lip in frustration, as you didn't want to forgive him. He made a big mistake, and you didn't really expect over that. Your sympathy ass wanted to forgive him as soon as he said, don't leave me too. Did someone leave him, you thought, trying to put the pieces together. I'm sorry, please, he cried out. Forgive me, he whispers as he sniffs. You mumbled. Forgive you, you replied. Thank you, he mumbled. This forgiveness wasn't out of your own will. Heck, you forgave as you felt a little guilty, thinking that you'd maybe a little too harsh on him. And in reality, he deserved that treatment. Hachoo! Inosuke sneezed. Are you cold? We should stop by my uncle's sushi restaurant. It's near here, you said. Inosuke nodded his head in response. The two of you had made up and were now heading to Hanagazawa's restaurant, all wet. Inosuke glanced at your face. In his eyes, you looked absolutely beautiful. He gets butterflies in his stomach every time he sees you. He hears your voice. He smells your scent. He touches you, but that isn't the thing he gets. He also gets hard. Inosuke soon saw your hand was empty. He slowly slithered his hand onto yours. The two of you were holding hands. You let out a snort. Only for today, Inosuke, you commented. Inosuke couldn't help but blush and smile. This felt like the two of you were actually a couple. After being a couple, he'd ask you to marry him. After 5 months of dating, let's get married, you'd officially be his, and he is officially yours. He'd murder anyone who dares look at you the wrong way. But heck, he'd even teach his and your children how to kill people if anyone insults you or flirts with you. Huh, what a beautiful future. What a non-toxic and healthy display of marriage and love. No, it's not. As you looked ahead, you noticed two familiar figures. You focused on it and soon realized that it was Nezuko. She was talking to someone happily. She was smiling and laughing. You wondered who the other person was. You soon came to realize it was Tanjiro. Gray. Everything is gray. Yoko, Bob's grandmother, mumbled as she slowly walked towards a chair. There is no color. I see the same walls. I see the same windows. My hands and fingers are wet. My eyes ache and are red. Yoko sang as she slowly stood up on the chair. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. I don't want to read this. I know what she's doing. I'm not gonna say this, but let's just say she kills herself. Oh. Yeah, I'm just gonna say she killed her husband and her... Ooh. Actually, no. I think, no, they're both alive. Oh, shit. Sorry. Yeah, but they're both alive. But I'm still not reading this because this gets into, like, grave detail. And, yeah, I'm not reading this because yeah, this is definitely not gonna... I'm definitely gonna be demonetized if I read this. Ooh.